Alright, so this problem here, it's problem number 37. It's got several questions. So, it asks you, see these 2 points they give us? So this is sort of like that thing we did in class when we first got into this section. We had to draw your own line and then pick 2 points.
Yeah.
So this is kind of nice because they actually give you 2 points to work with. So the first question is, use these 2 points that they give you to find the equation of the line. George, Savannah. George, Savannah. Be quiet. So how do I find the equation of line using these 2 points? We did this problem earlier. This is going to be just a little bit more disgusting because this is 2.3 right there, right?
Yeah.
But oh well. You can just make decimals. You got calculators. Not a big deal. So how do I find the equation of this line here? What do I have to do first? Find the slope. I love it. I don't care what the points look like. They're kind of gross. It's got a gross part to it. But the process doesn't give a crap. It says to find the equation of the line, I've got to first find the slope. So how do I find the slope between these two? 11 minus 2.3 divided by 90 minus 15. So 8.7 divided by 75, and then you just plug that in your calculator, it's fine. Right, they actually have decimal answers for this one. Whatever 8.7 divided by 75 is. 0.116, cool. I like it. So that's the slope. And now I can just use y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. And I can pick whatever point I want. So which point do you guys want to use in this equation? 90, 11? Okay. So we got y minus the y piece equals slope times x minus the x piece. And now, again, it's okay to have decimal answers. So you should end up with, once you multiply this through, add 11 over, you should end up with this becoming x. And real quick, what would the y-intercept be of this line? What's the y-intercept? What's the y-intercept?
X equals 0. Y equals
0.56. That's b right there, right? This is in the form mx plus b. Whatever number is here is the value of y in the y-intercept. We know this. We need to know this. So if I continue this line down, it does look like maybe it hits one half just about. 0.56 would make sense. Do you have to do what I just did? No. This is just me being me, showing you that this line makes sense because it does match up with what it looks like the y-intercept is trying to be. So that's part A, is this. Part B says, oh, we already did. So part A was this. Part B is solve for y. I just look at those as one thing. Part C says something about France having 32 firearms per 100 persons. I like the word persons instead of people. I don't know. Per 100 persons. So again, this is where you have to know, what does the x variable represent in this problem? And how do you figure that out from the freaking graph? Well, where's the x-axis? And what's it labeled as? Firearms per 100 persons. So France would be right around at 32. There's France right there. We can estimate how many deaths per 100,000 persons. I would estimate 5 here, right? You can see that? There's France. there's the 32, and then over here, if I just go over, it looks like there should be about 5 deaths per. So now I'm going to use the equation. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So part C says use the graph. We just did that. And part D says use the function we found. So how could I use this function? What am I going to put in place of x? Well, Jeff, let's zoom out of it. Wow. Yeah, I'm going to put 32 in place of x. And I'm going to see it should come out to be close to 5. It's not going to be perfect because the points don't all line up perfectly on the line, but the line is just an estimator. You can just estimate values. So whatever you guys get from that, let's see. I don't know. Right, you just plug that in your calculator. Let's see. They say it should be about 4.3. So it's off by about 0.7. It's below the 5 that the graph shows it should be. Alright, I like it. That doesn't mean that this line equation is shit. It just means that it's an estimator. It's the best we can do with all these points all over the place. Okay, so that's number 37. Let me see where to go. Blah, blah, blah. Then I say number 40 through 47. This is a bunch of true or false questions about this graph here. So you can see some of the answers right high. So looking at the graph, is there a perfect negative correlation between the percentage of adult females who are literate and the under 5 mortality rate? So that's what this is. Why do you think there should be a connection? Why? If I went somewhere and I worked with females in that area and I got them to read better, does that mean that the infant mortality rate, the number of infants under 5 that pass away, would that actually decrease? No. So why do you think there's a connection between those two? What third factor behind both of those might explain why there's a connection? A country that has a higher percentage of its adult females literate is probably a country where, what? There's a lot of different answers you can tell me. If a lot of men are literate but not the females, then obviously other areas in the country might be not appropriately proportional for females either, like healthcare. Maybe they don't have as much access to healthcare. Or maybe people don't work much on the healthcare for women because they're kind of undervalued in that society, possibly, right? Or what's something else that connects these two, that a third factor behind both of these? Economics. Maybe the country doesn't have a lot of money, so it doesn't have a lot of schools, they can't put a lot of time into the curriculum, and so probably they don't have the best healthcare system either. I like it. So this doesn't mean that if this changes, then that changes. But it does mean that they both seem to change in a certain manner together. As this goes up, it seems that mortality rate goes down, but not because this makes that happen. Okay, maybe. That's the whole correlation does not mean causation. Sort of like if I go watch people play basketball and I say, playing basketball makes you taller. No, Jeff. That's not true. Sorry, buddy. I tried. Didn't really work out for me. All right, maybe. All right, so the first question says there's a perfect negative correlation here. Is that true? That's so obviously false. Now, the points seem to get kind of far away, but to be honest, the R value is going to be higher than you would think. Because even though they get far away, they all kind of move in the same direction. I like it. So the R value here won't be close to -1 exactly, but it will be maybe -0.6, -0.7. It is a decently strong correlation, to be honest, especially because there's so many data points. What about this? As the percentage of adult females who are literate increases, under 5 mortality decreases. So as this goes up, this goes down. Is that true? Yes, that's pretty much what this is saying, right? So that's true. Number 41 is true. 42, the country with the least percentage of adult females who are literate has the greatest under 5 mortality. Is that true? The country that has the least adult females who are literate, do they have the highest infant mortality rate? So let's see, the lowest adult female literacy is right there. Do they have the highest infant mortality rate?
Yeah.
Does nobody else goes higher than this? No, all these people do here. They go higher, don't they? So the point he's trying to make there is that kind of speaks to the fact that this doesn't cause this to happen, because when you make this the lowest, it doesn't make that the highest. There are others that are higher for other reasons. Okay, maybe. So 42 is false. 43 says no two countries have the same percentage of adult females who are literate, but different under 5 mortalities. All right, that's just getting a little... So do any two countries have the same percentage of adult females who are literate, but different infant mortality rates? Well, what are you looking for there? I want to have the same of this, but difference in this. So anything like these here, any dots right on top of each other shows that that's false. These countries here, they have the same literacy rate, but they have different mortality rates. I like it. So normally when I graph a line, I can't have 2 points on top of each other like that, but this isn't really what this is. This is just stuff happening in the real world, and there are different variables like the economics, like how much do you value your women in your society, that would affect where these dots end up. There are more than 20 countries in this sample. Is that true or false?
Yes.
Yeah, because each one of these little measles is a country, right? Each one of these little dots is a country, and there's like 20 right here. So screw it, there's more than 20 countries up there. 45 says there is no correlation between the percentage literate and the under 5 mortality. Is that true? Is there no correlation? Well, is there a correlation between these two?
Yes.
Are they related? Yes. As one goes down, up, the other one goes down. They are related. They are correlated. That's what that means. So here's an example picture of something that has no correlation. As one goes up, the other one does whatever the hell it wants to. So they're not correlated at all. Okay. So finally, let's see, 46 says, the country with the greatest percentage of females who are literate has an under 5 mortality rate that is less than 50 children per 1,000. So the greatest literacy rate, looks to be right there, is that under 50? Yes. All right, that's true. So some of those questions are just, can you read this graph? Some of those questions are like that. That's like not statistics. It's just, can you read the graph? And then finally, which one of these pictures would you say is I just gave it away. Would you say is negative 0.9 R value? Which ones can you immediately throw out as being negative 0.9? Well, these two are, well, this one is positive. This one is probably 0 or very close to it, right? So I can throw those two out. So now it's between these two. This one looks like it's probably R equal to negative 1, right? Or very, very close to it. Maybe there's a little curve there. So this one looks like it's probably R equal to negative 0.9. So that's the one that's got an R of negative 0.9. And that's related to that first question I asked you on the quiz. So you can expect that same kind of question where I give you a picture and I ask you questions like that. Guess what the R is. Explain why you think that. You got to be careful, is it negative or positive? Stuff like that. Okay, so I just wanted to go over that one because I didn't put that on the answer key. That number 6, the one that referenced the book. So now it's whatever you guys want to talk about. Where else do you want to go?
We were discussing because well, so much time. If we do corrections, we don't get the full points.
No.
We just get half.
Well, so if you got an 80 or above, you get 5 points back. If you got below an 80, you get a point for every 4 points you missed. So if somebody made a 64 and missed 36 points, divided by 4, they could get 9 points back. And also, don't forget this, you're a remarkably nice teacher. If you make corrections to the quiz and you get all the points back, and you do better on the test, your quiz grade becomes the same as your test grade. It's crazy. It's all up on the syllabus. Quizzes, part of me wants to make quizzes worth nothing, but you need grades. The reason for that is because a quiz is sort of like a gauge saying, okay, this is what you don't know. You better freaking know it before the test hits you, because the test is worth way more than a quiz. So that's why I give you 2 opportunities to make that quiz grade go up. To follow your understanding. Your grade should reflect your understanding. So your early grade shouldn't be so set in stone. Because I'm hoping you understand it more after you do the corrections. Is that cool? So definitely work on those corrections. They got to be turned in on time. And even if you got only half the corrections right, but you made a higher grade on the test, I'll average your quiz grade halfway with the test grade. Does that make sense? It won't become your test grade, but it will go up a little bit more. So you guys realize that means you actually have to do better on the test for that to kick in. But, you know, yes. Oh, sorry.
Would you mind if we did our quiz correction on the back of our quiz?
No, that's beautiful. I love it. Just don't change the original ever, right?
No, yeah.
But you can do it on the back, you can do it on the side, and make it really clear what the correction is. Cool. We can all save trees. Why not? Those poor trees. They're in a constant horror movie. The humans are coming. I'm not, yeah. Not exactly a tree hugger, but we should be careful. I am a little concerned because I'm not getting the most homework from people. I'm not getting much homework at all. It's the same little group of people that give me homework before the test. And they're reaping the benefits of having me evaluate their work before the test. I mean, that kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay. I can't win the staring contest. There's too many of you. I have not enough eyeballs.
Did you kind of do one with the first one on the quiz? Like, how do you know what the value are?
So I was taking a wide range of guesses. I didn't want you to try to plug in the calculator and figure out the points on. Just one thing, 2 things I was looking for. Positive or negative. It's got to be the correct sign. And then secondly, you know, the people that had the problem with the city miles per gallon versus highway miles per gallon, that should have been pretty close to 1. Because that lined up. The people that had the coffee versus temperature, that shouldn't have been close to -1. It should be negative, but maybe like -0.6, -0.5, -0.4, somewhere there. There's a definite trend. There's a definite correlation. But it's just not as strong because the points are not exactly right on top of the line. They're kind of spread out away from it. So that's how you explain it. You say, so it's about negative 0.4 because it's going down and the points are not all very close to the line. That's exactly how you could explain it. Because negative 1 would mean they're perfectly on the line and it's a negative slope. So the minute I pull some points away from the line, it goes negative 0.9, negative 0.8, negative 0.7. So the further they are away from the line, the closer to 0 R gets. Because R equals 0 means they're just all over. There's no line. They're just all over. Right? They really do look like measles then. There's I like it. I want to see some kid with measles like right here. Perfect correlation. It's a very strange thing to want, but oh well. You guys look for that. Now with more and more anti-vaxxers, maybe that'll happen. A larger sample of kids getting measles, maybe I'll actually see my correlation. I'd rather kids not get it, but oh well. What can I do? Hard to fight against ignorance. Yes?
What is prime again?
So, like the number 17, we call it prime, and because we just chose that word to mean I can't break it down into parts besides one in itself. So like 9 is what we call composite because it's composed of more than just 1 times 9, it's also 3 times 3. So prime